Welcome back from that package. Still with Daybreak Africa Features tuned in. The truth is, haven't missed nothing, to be honest. I guess this is the main package for me. I tend to enjoy this segment more.
Exactly.
But I guess with Daybreak, is always every segment seems to be very important. Every segment seems to be very enticing and attractive. This morning, we shall be discussing the cholera outbreak in Nigeria. It's alarming figures so far. And in the house seated already is Dr. Olubusayo Modupe. He's the Director, Health Insurance Schemes, State Specialist Hospital, Ondo State. He is also the Project Coordinator, HIV Program, State Specialist Hospital here in Ondo State. Good morning and welcome on Daybreak.
Good morning.
So nice to have you.
It's really been a while. I guess it's safe to say Happy New Year at this point.
Well, it's my first time to meet a doctor. Yes,
yeah,
of course. I didn't know you were a friend to the house.
Very good friend. Very good friend.
Welcome.
Thank
so
you
nice
very
to have
much.
you.
Yeah.
So this morning we shall be looking on cholera. I want to talk about the current situation with the cholera outbreak in Nigeria and states affected. While doing my research, I came across this current statistics. And it stated the deaths so far, that it has been 54 deaths as of June 26, 2024, which is late last month. And the cases so far has been 1,579 as of June 26, 2024. States affected, 32. Local government areas affected, 115 as of June 26, 2024. Number of states that contributed 90% to the burden of cholera are 10, including Bayelsa, Zamfara, Abia, Cross River, Bauchi, Delta, Katsina, Imo, Nasarawa, and Lagos State. This is as of June 11, 2024. I think what got me here was the fact where we had 4 northern states here, and then the rest 6 had to be shared among South and the East. Now, suspected cholera cases reported in Lagos are 324 as of June 14, 2024. Confirmed cases reported are 9 in Lagos as at the same date. Number of people who died of cholera in Lagos are 15 as of June 14, 2024. I think the fact where the people of Ondo State tend to panic more is because, Lagos State is more like our friends, just more like a neighboring state to us, so people of Ondo tend to panic more. Now, with these statistics so far, Doctor, what can you tell us about the situation so far? Are we managing to...
Like an overview in terms of your own observation.
Yeah. Even I can say, I think a week ago, right in Ondo, we have a suspected case.
Confirmed yet?
It's not confirmed yet, but it was a suspected case. Then we know even in Okitipupa, which is Ondo State, few cases have been confirmed there. And so, cholera, as we say, I think over 32 states now, out of how many states? 36. So that's virtually
the whole country.
Yes. The truth of the matter is, we have not done well as a country. Because if you listen to news now, you notice that the government, we are looking for the vaccine.
We are short of vaccine.
I'm not sure we even had in the first place. And so, with an outbreak that has been ongoing, started from the south side, from Bayelsa, and gradually extending, till it's now covering 32 states. At this time, we are still searching for vaccines. We've not done well. And the truth of the matter is, when there is poor hygiene, covering water, because the infection can come in either through infected water or through infected food. And once that happens, yes, not everybody, and the truth of the matter, even the presentation, that one is infected with cholera does not mean everybody becomes symptomatic. There are a lot of people who even had cholera that did not even present because it
that
just
happened,
or probably no symptom or very mild symptom. There are times we have running stomach, you just think that's what is happening, and it goes on its own. But the challenge is that these people can still transmit because they have that infection in their feces. They are still shedding that infection, and that if perchance that infection through the feces get into source of water or into someone's food, that person will still be able to infect another person. You know, naturally, no sane man will go to where human waste is and start to eat. No sane man. But there is something that assists in carrying. That is the house flies. Once the waste is there, house flies naturally will go there. And if you notice house flies, they are airy. So once they perch on human waste and get to your food that you have just laid not covered, just watch out house flies. Once they get on any food or anywhere, they appear to
dust
that's what they do. They will just drop
dust everything they're carrying into the food,
and that you are technically eating human waste. And if that is infected, automatically that person can come down with a severe disease of cholera.
Now, according to statistics, the first epidemic, cholera epidemic, was first noticed or noted in 1972.
Yeah.
And since that occurrence, we've had intermittent epidemic situation in the country.
Yeah.
Again, while I was researching, I discovered that 1991 was one of the roughest cases or case reported in the country. Again, we had 2010, which was another very terrible one. And give and take, we have intermittent epidemic outbreak.
Virtually every year.
Virtually every year.
Outbreaks.
So the reason why I am just taking, going through this route is the fact that you mentioned that at this present time, a country as great, as big, as huge as Nigeria is looking for cholera vaccines when the country knows that intermittently we have this outbreak. I really want you to let us know how this has affected. Fine, we now see that almost the entire country every state has a story to tell about this present situation.
Yeah.
But again, the role of government must be discussed at this point. Who should have told government to ensure that vaccines are made available or stored somewhere if situations like this break out?
Naturally, we have the Ministry of Health, both in state, national. There is a body, the Primary Care Development Agency, that those are the group in charge of vaccines. When you talk about polio vaccine, all these vaccines is under their purview. We know regularly there are outbreaks. It might not be as terrible as we are expecting, as we are experiencing now. So the country should have been prepared. There's what that is called emergency preparedness. We are not prepared for this kind of thing, and we should know regularly. When you were introducing, you talk about Lassa. Lassa has all perpetually been with us now. It's not even going. What have we done? Nothing. Every year we keep saying the same thing. The government needs to start to do something. We need to start to get prepared. When COVID came, the same thing, everything was just confusing. We depended on foreign countries to supply us with vaccines. Virtually throughout. I'm not sure there was any manufacturing of vaccines. No vaccines were manufactured during that time in Nigeria.
We manufactured face masks.
Face mask. Now, are you getting me? By now we should get to that level.
So, Doctor, I don't want to cut your conversation. I'm sorry if I did that.
Yeah.
I just want to refer back to what Ezekiel said. Is it because we're a strong people? Does it have anything? I know how corny that may sound, but as a Nigerian, I just have to ask the question. We survived Lassa. We survived coronavirus. We survived Ebola. Is that why we can have vaccines and have the preparedness?
To me, I will just say it's not about our strength or anything. I think it's just because our government lacks focus. It's not about people, if you are not affected, it does not mean anything to you. But a family that lost someone, it means a lot. If you did during COVID, if you didn't lose anybody, it does not matter to you. You think it's because Nigerians are so, but we have families that lost a lot of people.
Definitely.
And even people that died from non-COVID related cases. Because the symptoms appeared COVID-like, a lot of health workers were afraid because then the hazard allowance was 5,000, and if you die, you are on your own for your family. There are a lot of people that died for non-COVID related cases, but because the symptoms were similar, everybody was afraid. The first thing, they take sample, nobody will go back there until the test results comes out negative, and a lot of them will be dead before the test result
comes out.
And so to those families, there's nothing about the strength of being Nigerian there. It's not. We are not just prepared for it. As citizens too, we have our own problem. We have our own challenge. If the government is not doing anything, what are we doing, or what are we saying? After 4 years, if you have not done anything for me this year, after 4 years, I have a choice. You are here for 4 years, you didn't do anything for me. You are asking for my vote again next. I have that choice. The worst is, for first 4 years, there's nothing I can do. But I have another choice. We need, the people must also start to think deep. We must also start to be prepared.
So let's talk about the strain. I remember the Lagos State government actually saying, in fact, that is when the first announcement was made on June 9th of cholera outbreak in Lagos State. It was the governor of Lagos State made us understand that this strain is different from the normal strain. And while researching, I discovered that the strains keep evolving. We do not have a particular one, even though there is choleragenic V cholera, which is 01, and there's 0139.
But those are the common one. Yeah.
So, but the information we got is that the strain this time, why it is spreading so fast, is that this particular strain is aggressive and is not a strain that is a common strain that the country has experienced before. I would really appreciate if you can let us understand all that grammar.
Naturally, it's the same challenge most of these organisms have that they give us. The same thing when we were talking about COVID, you notice different strains.
So they're coming up.
Yes. What it means is this. If, for example, this hand of mine is just the shape of the first strain, and you start to attack it, and you are eating it, You know what they do? Most of the organisms, they want to escape that attack with the drugs. They start to change shape.
To survive.
They start to change form.
To continue living.
So at a stage, probably instead of like this, it has turned to like this. Now you are now trying to eat. The drug that was working initially will not work again. So fresh drug need to be developed
to attack
a new strain. That's the meaning of strain. They just mutate, they change, so that they are able to escape any attack.
I think so what then becomes a contributing factor to this outbreak. Indeed, you made an example of houseflies and all that, but it's more like it happens daily. But what is the major factor for this sudden eruption, for this sudden outbreak? In 2 months, we are recording deaths, thousands of cases in 32 states or more.
Because we were not prepared. As I said, a lot of people have this infection. Not everybody comes down with the severe disease. That you have no symptom or you even have mild symptom. You will shed that organism in the feces for around 10 days. You know what that means? And are all our houses with toilets? Most up till now, they still do what is popularly called short put. Defecate in the paper or in nylon, throw it away into the bush. This is time of rain. It's raining. The raining washes it. Some into the ground. Some runs into other sources of water. And so if you get even wells, once wells are not deep, it's not safe for drinking. Because all the surface water will still seep into source of water. Once you get that, and you take it.
When it's not treated.
That is the challenge we have currently. And that you talked about in Bayelsa, I think Bayelsa is leading the country. What's their source of water? Rivers. And once you just do, and that water is not treated, then just one person need to have, who is infected, just need to contaminate the water.
And that's it. Then it begins to spread. Okay. So tell us more about cholera. I know since we started talking, anyone watching already knows what cholera is. We would want to start now with definition. Of course, we know that is a diarrheal infection that is gotten from the ingestion of food and water contaminated by the bacterium. Can you tell us more what diarrhea is before we go to predisposition, before we go to more causes, before we go to treatment and prevention?
Yeah. You have defined cholera, yeah? It's an acute, because it just comes suddenly, diarrhea disease caused by injection of contaminated either water or food by a particular organism called Vibrio cholerae. The incubation period can be 5 hours to 6 days. What we mean is that from you getting it and for you to start manifesting could be as short as in hours and could be as long as in days. Again, depending on the virulence of that organism causing it. What we mean by virulence is how bad is,
how aggressive.
Yeah, how aggressive is that organism. And it will also depend on the immunity of that person. Who is the host now? All this comes into play to determine how soon the symptoms will start and how severe it could be. The virulence and the immunity of the host.
So what are the symptoms to show? Because now I have a confession. I think somewhere along my life I've had cholera infection because there was a mention of milky stool. Is it milky stool? Please tell us about the symptoms.
Yes, okay,
how can one know that he or she has been predisposed to a cholera infection?
You know, yes, there's passage of watery stool. We usually like to classify it as rice water stool. You know rice.
Yes,
that's common.
That's what I wanted to say.
Yes, rice
water
stool. Yeah.
Yes,
rice water stool. Of course, there can be abdominal discomfort, pain, feeling unwell.
Cramps?
Yes. Then, of course, it follows with vomiting. In fact, when there is passage of watery stool and vomiting, there must be very high index of suspicion for cholera. Yes, food poisoning can cause that too. Or this era of outbreak, when there is vomiting with passage of watery stool, then the first thinking is this could be cholera.
So are there other symptoms?
Those are the main. Of course, the truth of the matter is that our body is made up of a lot of water. If we have lost a lot of water, that person will enter into what we call hypovolumic shock. Can become confused, weak. There will be cold extremities, cold calming extremities. And if you check the BP is low, the person is going.
Wow.
Then there can be what we call AKI, acute kidney injury. The person will not make urine again.
Wow.
So all these things, if this continue, of course, the finality is death.
So cholera can actually infect the kidneys?
No, it's not. It's the loss of fluids. That
the
means there's no
body
fluid
to
circle.
walk
Yes,
the
that's
kidneys.
yeah.
So is that? What about? This is serious. In children and adults, can you tell us? Is there a different disposition for children and adults, or is the same symptom?
The symptoms are the same, but now the challenge is this: risk factor, the most predisposing factor for cholera, yes, extreme of age, young age, and elderly, and people with low immunity. For the young, one, the immunity is not well developed. Two, is that their body fluid. Their body is made of a lot of fluid. That's why even outside cholera, one of the main killer outside malaria of children under 5 is diarrhea disease. because when they pass a lot of waters too, they lose a lot of fluid with electrolyte. You just see them becoming floppy, and if nothing is done fast, they are gone. But the body fluid in adults is not as it's there, but it's not as much as children. So at least sometime the adult can still manage for some time. But again, at a stage, there's nothing that will be done.
Now, you made mention of the fact where you said we are out of vaccines, or at some point don't even have the vaccines.
I'm not sure. We are looking for it. It's all over the news.
We're still looking for the vaccine.
Yes, where we'll get. And you know the truth, even the cholera, sorry for cutting you, the cholera outbreak is not only in Nigeria. It's all around. But where they are well prepared, they are not making noise about it because the system is prepared about it.
We do not have the vaccine. We are ill prepared or not prepared at all. So I tend to wonder how prepared then is our healthcare system to handle this particular situation, because whether they like it or not,
with
we
the
have to
evidence
be
that we
yes.
have right now.
As
a medical practitioner, one who is inside the system.
You know the truth of the matter is that
Yes.
we are not proactive, we are reactive. It's when something happens that we start.
Helter skelter.
Yes, and that's what is happening
Plan B
again.
Solutions.
We are not always proactive. Naturally, around this time, you expect this. This is what should be done, what should be done, what should be done. Remember, you know, because the biggest one that we saw most recently is the COVID. There was a time, even if I get here, there'll be sanitizer. People, nobody is talking about sanitizer again.
And we're made to believe that COVID is still around.
COVID,
that is going to be here forever.
Yeah.
That is part
nobody
of
is
our life.
talking about it. God forbid if in 2 months every center if there is COVID again or anything, we now again reintroduce. Why can't it be part of our normal culture? Especially where they are gathering of people should be normal. But nobody is talking about that again. It's the same thing.
So it's a big paradox, is a big irony that a country as huge as Nigeria will begin to go cap in hand again, begging. Now we're begging. That's what we
either beg, even buying. Because if you want to buy, I will satisfy my own citizen first
before we give out. And I think that is the situation we are having right now.
Yeah.
How rare is this vaccine?
It needs to be manufactured.
Is it expensive? Is it really beyond reach? Was it newly produced? How come we not to have it?
If we produce drugs in Nigeria, very recently, I think the federal government did something about because currently most drugs are not even affordable for most Nigerians now. I think there's a law that I heard it over the weekend. Tax-free and a lot of
of drugs.
A lot of things. Vaccines should be manufactured in Nigeria. You know, if we are the one manufacturing it, then we have. Or if we need to look for Pfizer, currently I think there are 3 vaccines, cholera vaccine. If or one of those companies is in Nigeria, we manufacture it here too. But if the business environment is not conducive, there's nobody that will bring an industry to come and
I mean, that's the funny thing with Nigeria. When one problem comes, it's kind of intertwined. It's connected just to the other. Now, talking about investment,
Is it-
we're talking about lack
The
of
economy.
at this
Economy.
point.
Talking
you know,
about exchange rates.
at this point,
Everything is
at this
interwoven.
point. So it's more like you can't really handle one situation without touching
Without
the
touching
other.
not possible.
Now we're talking about our falling healthcare structure and the system itself, and we are just at this point confused. Please, Anire, can you help me out at this point?
See, I can help you. That's why we have a doctor in the house. There's a question I want to ask. The fact is that if Nigerians are excelling outside the shores of this country, in health especially, they're breaking grounds all over the world.
Everywhere.
Why can't we replicate same in the nation? We'll answer that question when we come back from our break. I can see the glint in the eyes of the doctor. He has to answer it. Stay with us. We need to go on a break now to bring you our Go Start business. You need to learn. Stuff like this are the reason why we want to empower Nigerians by bringing you the Go Start business so you can be financially independent anywhere you find yourself. You can start from where you are with shikini money. We'll take a short break for that Go Start. When we return, our guest will still be here to answer why Nigerians excel everywhere but the nation. Stay with us. Yes, welcome back. So our guest is still in the house, our doctor friend to the house. And I asked the question before we went on the break. We're talking about vaccines. Nigerians are, to me, the most intelligent people. I'm saying the truth on national and international television. I believe that Nigerians are the most intelligent people in the world. I believe that Nigeria is the greatest nation in the world. Nigerians excel in technology when they leave the shores of the country. Their results are unprecedented. Nigerians have results in foreign universities that even the people can break for 36 years, for 20 years, for 15 years. So when we talk about the production of vaccines, how come as Nigerians we need to wait for Pfizer, we need to wait for Glaxo or whatever to produce these vaccines where we are doing so well outside the show? Is it the government? Is it a black man problem? Is it witchcraft? Please let us know, doctor.
Yeah. Well, the first thing is not witchcraft. Let's just remove that first. The truth is, our environment is not conducive to excel. It's not conducive. You see, most of those people excelling outside the country, doing greatly, if they had stayed in the country, you'll probably not hear their names too. If an Oyinbo man sees you that this man is excellent, is into research, they won't joke with you. Everything you need to excel, they will give it to you. They will support you with everything. What are the researches going on in our universities? Virtually, most universities have faculties of pharmacy. What have they produced? We have universities with computer science, computer engineering, that their students don't even see computer. That is what is causing. So the environment is not conducive for excellence. And until something is done to it, we talk, currently you are even sure of those you see. You don't know tomorrow. That person you see, you are looking at now, may have a visa to leave the country tomorrow. That's how bad and it is. And except something is done, I remember when I was in the university, ECG machine. The ECG I saw was so big, like house.
That's like 50 years ago.
Yeah.
50
And you
years
get-
ago equipment.
But now the ECG you see, portable, so easy to use. So a lot of things. We just need to make, both the government, everybody, just make. And you know the unfortunate thing is that our leaders travel out and see what is happening. Why can't that be replicated here? The little breakthrough we had during COVID, you know the reason? Even foreign countries did not allow our people to travel to their country.
Had a funny reason.
Yeah, no. So that means, at least for the first time, we are on the same level. So something must be done because it affected politicians, not politicians, rich, poor.
But Doctor, I know this is not a forum for this, but as a broadcaster or broadcast journalist, we actually discovered that while Nigerians were being told there was no movement, there were people
Very
who
few.
were traveling behind the scenes.
Very
to the
few.
extent, I had a friend whose fiance came from the United Kingdom, and he did their wedding during the pandemic. He came in and he did a wedding and he went out again because
No,
we
we
have
allowed them.
situations
We
like that.
allowed them in. They would not really
Not good.
allow us. You know, at that time, remember, somebody big in government died.
Yes, yes,
If it was then, he would not be in the country.
yes. Okay, now we've talked about what cholera is. We need to talk about the predisposition. Now, while I was researching, I discovered that despite all efforts to stem the tide of cholera, the cholera pandemic, or epidemic rather,
Yeah.
that is still occurs now and again. And because it happens in Nigeria, we've had a situation from 1972. That is why this present situation is so is something that breaks the heart of Nigerians, to the tune that we do not have vaccines, to the tune that something that started from Bayelsa has now crossed 32 states, almost the entire country. So we need to educate our viewer. What are the predispositions to cholera? What are the causes of cholera? Because we've spoken about it on the surface. From a professional, we will want to learn how we can predispose to getting cholera.
And number one is water hygiene, a source of water. How clean is our source of water? I was speaking, I think, on the radio program. I said, it's not cleaning, facial cleaning, you know?
Sparkling.
Sparkling, no. Is it really clean in? No. There are a lot of sachet water. The truth of the matter is, if you go to where the sachet water are being produced, you won't be able to drink it. But we tend to think sachet water, you know, they call it pure water.
That's why we call it poor water.
Are you getting me? Get to the source. But unfortunately, all these have NADAC approved. They are NADAC approved. Even the bottled water. So the first thing is clean source of water. If you are not sure, then boil your water. and allow it to cool. Very important. To simple hygiene. When you have food, get it covered. I talked about houseflies, the injury they cause. So simple. During your introduction, you talked about agbalumo. Even a lot of people, rich people, when you buy apple,
it's straight to the mouth.
You don't wash.
It's straight to the mouth. The highest we do is we do something like this, and it's straight to the mouth.
And medical experts will also always say, take a lot of fruits, because of the economy. You want to take watermelon. It will have been sliced. You just get there, buy one pack.
Straight to the mouth.
Straight to the mouth. Then our food, do we prepare them well? Because if it's well prepared, done, cooked, most organisms will die. Properly cooked. Do we do that? Then how do we dispose our wastes? By now, this century, all houses should have toilets. It's so simple. Even if it's traditional, not the modern. There are a lot of houses up till now. How do we do that? The issue of hand washing. I said somebody who is infected but is not showing symptoms or have mild symptoms can still share that bacteria for 10 days. Some people will use the toilet, will not wash their hands. And if that person is infected, the next time and is the one giving you apple, is there anything so difficult in washing hands?
With soap and water, not just rinsing?
Yes. Is there anything so difficult? When you use the toilet, when you are coming out, even when you go out and you return home, for doctors, most of us are used to that. It's not because of cholera. It's because of infection that you may have taken from the hospital. You don't want to take it home. These are simple things. These are not expensive things. And it's the same way to get ourselves protected. Simple things.
Especially in Naira notes, we need to. I want you to put your voice to this. Women who sell at the market, people who actually handle money on a daily basis. Women who sell at the market, we who go to the market to buy and will take change back home, Okada riders, Marua riders, your vehicle. We all know how mutilated the notes are. Notes that have gone from beggars to only God knows where. And people get home, they still do not wash their hands before starting to cook the food, or at least
start to eat.
They don't wash their hands before eating or carrying their babies or interacting with the family.
Naturally.
So it's,
you don't even know the last person that touched that money.
They need to wash your hands.
And
regularly.
You can even be counting money and even put it in your mouth. We see a lot of things.
Or you're counting money and you're eating.
Eating so a lot of things.
Puff, so
simple
I
things. These are not difficult things.
I understand.
We just need to imbibe it. We talk about, I was on the program, I think weekend, I said, people still talk most TV, most radio programs still have a jingle about HIV. But after now, you won't hear any jingle about cholera again.
So it's something that has to be continued.
Yeah, so that people will keep hearing simple things.
Ezekiel, we need to take note of this.
We ought to. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Simple
for the
things, you know,
information.
keep reminding people. Yeah, it's not ongoing. Well, you know, you can still come back next year. No, but yes, Lassa fever has always been around. I can count the number of times I've had jingle about Lassa fever. These are things that keep reminding us.
You talked about evolution of bacteria generally. I tend to wonder, how does this current outbreak compare to the previous?
Now, you see, once there is outbreak, it's outbreak. It's only at the end that we can say, now compare the last outbreak, we have 2,000 cases, and we want to calculate the case fatality. That's how many people died. Then we want to say, no, last year is worse than this, or this year is worse. But now it appears it's covering a lot of states. But again, our health with surveillance ongoing now. Once there is a complaint, if that person presents in the hospital, even before diagnosis is confirmed, the most important thing is fluid replacement. Because it's the fluid they lost, they are losing, that is causing the death. Any known diarrhea case, either cholera or non-cholera, the first thing we want to do is replace that fluid. Even if we don't know what is causing it. If the person is losing 10, I want to give 10. That's the first principle of management. Yes, if we now confirm it's cholera, there are particular antibiotics good for it. You now introduce that. And there are times, even by the time you control the fluid, the person can get better because you don't even know the cause at the beginning.
So at this point, we need help. Ignorance is no defense, they say, whether or not we are prepared. As far as Nigeria is concerned, and cholera outbreak is still on the rise, we need help. I tend to wonder, what role can international organizations, NGO, tend to play in supporting Nigeria in response to this outbreak?
And naturally, by now, the WHO, UNICEF, everybody is on this.
Well, you said it's more like a global outbreak.
Yes,
so
it's yes.
Are we going to get that at level of attention we need?
You know, the truth is, WHO, all this international, is health, so is WHO. They have a standard process that they have established. It's Nigeria that is not aligning with it. There's a plan to eradicate, reduce death from cholera. It has been targeted for 2030. International bodies, they understand this issue. So they have a plan. It's Nigeria, we are supposed to align. If we cannot create our own, let's align and start to work, and don't wait till the next outbreak if after this is off.
Now I want to ask, why is Nigeria prone at this time? Because again, we were made to understand that this particular one is really serious. My question is, why is Nigeria prone right now? Why do you think we're having this strain? Though, again, you've made us understand that intermittently it happens.
Yeah.
But this particular one, cutting across 32 states, is so wide. Why do you think this has happened, besides not having vaccines Why do you think it's
We
so
have not
much?
always had vaccines. Now, there are some places who are already experiencing flooding. And so, if there's flooding, you know, it carries everything. And if it gets to the water source, there's no problem. There's problem. There's nothing you can do to that. And where there are open defecation, I think Nigeria has the highest in the whole world.
I really hope we don't.
I think
That's what the statistics
I think the
says.
statistics says we have the highest.
Actually, a couple of years ago,
Yeah.
I saw a documentary. I was like, wow.
They say it has changed.
I really hope it has. I really hope it has.
Are you getting my point? Where open defecation is still being practiced, once there is rain, you expect any other things. That is what is.
Okay, is it rainy season? Is it more prevalent during rainy season? Cholera infection? Or the,
yes. You know why? Whereas Lassa comes during the dry season. Cholera, because commonly is through water.
So as it flows,
Yes,
it carries.
yes.
Do you have dormant, are there dormant bacteria somewhere? So when it begins to rain, it just picks it up. They come alive, like you have in some other cases. Is that also one of the problem?
One person, bacteria are always around. Just one person, for example,
will kickstart the whole reggae.
Just one person.
So,
and if one person, for example, everybody in a town or a village uses one stream to take their water and bath, and one person is infected and passes the waste uphill, and rain just gets it,
flows it downhill.
There's nothing to do. As I talked about uphill and downhill, now, do you know those good old days when we have environmental officers, even in our homes, between your well and the soakaway, there is an allowable distance.
But these days you see people bury people next to the well. I've seen houses where you have the well and you have a grave.
There is an allowable distance, and the water source must be uphill,
not downhill.
Not downhill,
where it can flow. A lot has changed indeed.
Those are standards. I will say following.
Let's talk about test and treatment.
Yeah.
You told us that you've given us two basic symptoms, which is stooling and vomiting. And of course, some other stomach problem can predispose to such signs. So tell us the commonest test and of course the treatment for cholera.
Yeah. RDTs are available, but it's not common in Nigeria. RDT is rapid diagnosis tests that anybody can even do that. So currently it's central. They do what we call PCR. If there's a PCR, polymerase chain reaction, if there's a case in, for example, in Ondo, there's an officer in Ondo West that will be called. They will come, take the sample, take it to a center lab where it will be done, and quickly will be informed of the result. So that's the two, either a rapid diagnosis test or the PCR. Those are the two tests. With this we know. So that's why until it's confirmed, they are always called suspected cases.
So what are the treatments? Once it's confirmed, what are the treatments? Can somebody treat themselves in the house or self-medicate, or they need to, which is the typical Nigerian character, or it is important to go to the hospital? What are the treatments given by doctors?
If it's severe, There's no way you can treat yourself at home because you will need drip. That's what is called popularly. You need intravenous fluid. But if it's mild symptom, then they will use ORS. The normal ORS, oral rehydration therapy, so that is used for babies. Is to replace fluid too, is the same. They will use that. That's if the person is not vomiting. But if there is vomiting, then that means anything you take, you are still going to vomit. So you need to go to hospital so that infusion will be given.
But how serious is cholera? Is it a death sentence? Is it treatable? At what point should somebody go to the hospital?
Very good. If it's mild or no symptom, you might not even know. But if there is vomiting with the stooling, what it means is that there's nothing you can even take by mouth because you'll be vomiting. If you want to take ORS, you are going to vomit it, and you need ORS to replace the fluid you are losing. You need to go to the hospital. The truth of the matter, if a severe disease is not properly managed, it can lead to death within hours. I'm talking about within 6 hours.
That's effective.
Yeah. If it's severe, there's vomiting, there's passage of watery stool. It's copious. Within hours, within 6 hours, the person can be gone. But if the person is in the hospital, the fluid is losing, is being replaced, and medications are being administered, so that will be controlled.
Now, I think to wonder the government's response so far. Now, we know for a fact they're really doing their best, but is their best enough to address this current situation as at this point?
Should we be afraid? Should it be?
No, we should not be afraid. You know, we are used to being reactive, and that's why everything always gets us by surprise. We now start to react. After some time, we get over it, we control it.
We come back to normal.
We come back to normal. And again, we forget everything about cholera until next outbreak.
So as we round up, please, I want you to say something to our viewers as a community information from a doctor.
Yeah. My advice to everybody listening is this: so simple. Please, if you notice vomiting and passage of watery stool, now is not a time to start doing self-medication. Please go to the nearest hospital. Let them confirm that it's even not cholera. That is where we are. As I said, if not properly managed, it can lead to death within 6 hours. So we need to take care of ourselves.
We want to thank you so much, Doctor, for coming on the show. I don't know if we can have you again next week. We need to talk about a very important topic which we'll discover that you're involved in. And I know you know what I'm talking about. So we already have the doctor for next week. So you need to watch Daybreak next week. We won't tell you the day. Watch from Monday to Friday so you find out. This is where we'll take a short break now to go for sports. And we need to relax and enjoy some sports after all the training and information that the doctor has given to us. Ezekiel, it's time for sports.
It's time for sports. More like my favorite period.
I don't agree with that.
Come on, I like to cheer, like I said.
I don't agree with that. Thank you so much, doctor. Well, that is how we'll draw the curtain today on Daybreak. Yes, I know that feeling of wishing that we go on and on, but we have all the programs lined up, so we don't want to be selfish. But this will promise you, tomorrow is another day. I am Anire Binitie. Stay safe, keep your hands clean, and bye for now.
You do have a wonderful day ahead. I remain Ezekiel Ogar, and I subscribe to that which you just said. Keep your hands very clean. Bye.